On this episode, we're reviewing Michael Jordan, The Life by Roland Lazenby. Right now. So why did I pick up this book? Because personally, I think Michael Jordan is one of the greatest athletes of all time. So I wanted to figure out, how does he think? How does he act? How does he practice? How is he with his peers? How did he become who he became and who he is? So this book is actually a pretty thick book. It really dives in deep into Michael Jordan's life up to 2014 when the book was published. So I'm going to talk to you guys about certain parts that I really find pertinent and that really hit home with his story up to that point. The first thing the author talks about is Michael Jordan's family tree. He goes as back as his great-grandfather and explains what their journey was. And then he does a transition into Michael Jordan being born on February 17, 1963 to Dolores and James Jordan. Now, Michael was in a family with 5 siblings, including himself, 2 older brothers and 2 sisters. The main thing that I caught out of that was that's where he got his competitiveness. Started off on the basketball court with his older brother, always used to play, always used to challenge themselves, to the fact that they always used to fight until mom came in the backyard and said, "All right, kids, we have to go eat or do homework." And it wasn't only on the basketball court. He used to compete against his sister with schoolwork and grades. So that's where he got his competitive edge. So one part of the book that really caught my eye was when Michael Jordan got cut from his basketball high school team. And anybody that knows a bit about Michael Jordan has probably heard about this story. And the main thing that I caught of it was once he got cut, what happened to him? First, honestly, he went home and he started crying and crying and crying. But the shift that happened afterwards, that he's like, all right, I'm not gonna let this guy, this coach, this person tell me that I'm not good enough. I'm gonna work 10 times harder than everybody else. And next year, not only am I gonna make the team, but I'm gonna be the best player on the team. I'm gonna be starting 5. And that's exactly what happened. So once Michael Jordan got a lot of attention from his high school play, a lot of universities offered him full scholarships. Finally, the one he decided to go to was North Carolina's university to play under the coach, Dean Smith. And the main thing that I got out of that period was he was actually interviewed once and somebody asked him, the reporter asked him, "What's your main skill?" And Michael Jordan sat back and thought and said, "Actually, my main skill is that I'm coachable. I absorb like a sponge everything that my coaches say because he wants to get better." Not only that, all the people in his entourage, the teams and the coaches and everybody else that's around the team noticed that Michael Jordan was able to push out all the noise around him. He didn't go run after the girls, didn't go party, and all that was very available to him because he was becoming a star. Even at university level, he was able to push it out and say, listen, I need to concentrate on my game and becoming the best basketball player that he could be. In 1984, Michael Jordan joined the NBA. He was the 3rd overall pick by the Chicago Bulls. Now at that point, Chicago wasn't the winning franchise that Michael knew once he retired. Far from it. In fact, they had problems with their structure and the organization. The players that were there were not concentrating just on the basketball. So it was a different environment. But as soon as he walked in, the Bulls felt his presence. Not only in the games, but in practices as well. He used to go challenge the veteran players to make them play one-on-one and just make everybody level up their game. And as well, he walked in with a $2.5 million contract with Nike. That wasn't seen at the time, getting a brand deal like that at that significant level. And on top of that, he was a rookie. It was just mind-blowing. And they were like sponsoring him as one of the greatest players of his era. Now that caused certain friction with other stars in the league. So much so that in the All-Star game of that year, the other players kind of decided not to pass to Michael Jordan because they were looking at him as, you're the rookie, what are you doing? Now Chicago started understanding what kind of talent they had with Michael Jordan. So they started making a team around him with draft picks and some trades. Most notably, they brought in Scottie Pippen. And the team started getting a lot better as a unit. So much so that in the 1990 playoffs, they got into the conference finals against Detroit Pistons, which back at that time, they were known as the bad boys of the league, led by Isaiah Thomas. Now, they went to that series up to 7 games, and it was a really grueling series, and Michael Jordan said it himself, that was a turning point in his career. Unfortunately, they lost. And that loss, Michael compared it a lot to when he was in high school and he got cut from his basketball team. He remembers coming in after that loss into the bus, the team's bus, and he just went off on all the players, screaming on the coaches, saying that you guys did not do enough, I'm carrying the team, and all of this stuff. So at that point, he did a switch in his mind and he's like, I'm never letting Detroit beat us again. So during the offseason, he did things that he's never done before. He went and he hit the weights, started gaining some muscle mass, worked so much harder, and then just came back next year to really kick ass and take some names. In 1991, the Chicago Bulls brought in their new head coach, Phil Jackson, with his triangle offense and his Zen wave interacting with the players. He used to make the players do some breathing techniques and some meditations before every single practice. Now that year, Michael Jordan had decided that that's it, he is going to go and win his first championship. And that's exactly what happened. We most notably remember him holding the trophy, crying on it with his father next to him. And after that, they won 2 other ones, a total of 3, 1991, 1992, and 1993. During the three-peat, there was a lot of friction in Michael Jordan's life. There was reports that came out and showed that he was betting significant amount of money with his friends during his golf games. And we know that golf was actually a safe haven for Michael. It was a way for him to push away his craziness and just to be in a different environment. He was even contemplating retiring at that point. And then, unfortunately, his father got killed. And he went ahead and actually he did retire, and he decided to go play professional baseball with the Chicago White Sox. And he thought that this could be something that my father wanted him to do because his father was a big fan of baseball from the beginning. So Michael Jordan went and played baseball for a couple of years. Unfortunately, he didn't consistently make it in the Chicago White Sox lineup. He mostly played with the affiliate team. So he noticed that that wasn't necessarily made for him, and he decided to go back in the NBA. Now this was a gradual decision, but when he went back, it was like Chicago Bulls never missed a beat. They ended up winning 3 other championships in 1996, 1997, and 1998. And in that last year, 1998, the Chicago Bulls announced that Phil Jackson was not going to come back as their head coach. So Michael Jordan decided for the second time to retire from the NBA. And a couple of years later, he actually came back. Once he was owner of the Washington Wizards and noticed that his team wasn't doing very well, he decided to come back and play for a couple of years and decided to retire for the last time and gave away all his rights of ownership of the Washington Wizards and became a full-time owner of the Charlotte Hornets, which he's actually owner till to this day. So after reading this book, I was wondering, is Michael Jordan the GOAT, which is the greatest of all times? And you compare him often to LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, or whatever other great athlete that did play basketball or is playing basketball. And the only thing that comes to my mind is honestly, I don't know. But the one thing is for sure that Michael Jordan really did pave the way for these players, just like great other players paved the way for Michael Jordan. But Michael was the one that brought the NBA to the mainstream. He was the one that culminated this brand deals with the players and getting them to a higher salary cap and a higher paid level for the players. So just that in itself is really big for what he did. So one of the things that I picked up from Michael Jordan's mentality from this book was, first of all, he's extremely competitive, and that helped him out in all aspects of his career. Second of all, he was so zoned in about basketball that all the decisions he took was about becoming the greatest basketball player ever. So much so that his outside environment, like imagine it was drugs, girls, parties, and all that, he didn't do any of those things because his decision was, I want to be the best basketball player. And if I start drinking alcohol or going and partying so much, I won't be the best on the court and I'll expose certain weaknesses to my opponents, which he didn't want. And the third of all would be his work ethic and his standards, his rituals that kept him at a high level. Obviously, he was gifted with amazing talent and just an amazing body for this sport, but that's not what gets him to the extreme high levels. It's your rituals, and just keeping those rituals consistently is going to make you one of the greats. So I definitely suggest you guys to go pick up this book, even more if you're actually a basketball fan, because it really goes in deep of Michael Jordan's life, and I just gave you a little snap picture of it. So the Amazon link will be in the description down below, so go check that out. And you know what it is, guys. Leaders are readers, and live your life purpose and with purpose. Peace.
Inside of Carbonell, they double it. Jordan knocks it away from him. Jordan's got it. The Bulls can win it right here. The Bulls can win it. Unbelievable.
Michael against Russell, 12 seconds. 11, 10, Jordan. Jordan to drive, hangs, fires, scores! He scores! The Bulls lead 87-86 with 5 2/10 left. And now they're one stop away. Oh my goodness!
The Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship in the last 8 years.
Hello guys, thank you very much for watching another video once again. If you liked it, please like and subscribe and share it with all of your friends. If you want to get a more in-depth look into my life, here are some social media platforms that you can do that. And I will see you in the next video.